That make sense? So that can be kind of tricky. But Job, it says, he feared God. He respected God's greatness. And it says that he turned away from evil. So already we know Job is this guy who does everything right. Did you catch on to just how much this story is going to emphasize how righteous he is? What does he do after at night, after everything's kind of done? He goes out and makes sacrifices. How come? They remember? Yeah.
For his children's sins.
Yeah, but it's not even just for his children's sins. It's in case they forgot to make sacrifices for their sins. So he's like, okay, I better just do this again, just in case. You never know. So he's like doing things even further than he even have to. So that he is a keeper of the law. He follows God through and through. Somebody had mentioned something about numerology, and really there's about 3 numbers that you can say really mean something in the Hebrew Bible. Now that doesn't mean that people don't come up with all sorts of numbers. Don't get on the internet. That'll see all sorts of interesting stuff. And a lot of that does come about, but not clear till the Middle Ages with the rabbis when they start noticing different patterns. But in the Bible, it's pretty simple. 7, 3, 40. You get into the New Testament, and 12. You got 12 tribes of Israel. You got 12 disciples of Jesus. Okay. And what do those mean? All right, well, 7, and one of you pointed this out, 7 is a number that just means whole or complete. And 3 is kind of a number of holiness. So notice how many kids Job has, just to kind of emphasize just how great this guy is.
3, 4, 2, 3, 5.
Is it 3 and 3?
No, it's 7.
7 and 3. So we use those 2 numbers just to make sure you realize this guy, wow, you can't think of a better guy than Job. And he has all this stuff, my goodness. Yeah, he's just got everything you could possibly want. So, what happens? Down in verse 6. In this one, I suspect there might be some translation things. One day, the heavenly beings came to present themselves before, it says, the Lord. Do we have anything different besides heavenly beings?
Angels.
Angels? Now here it's kind of interesting. Literally in the Hebrew, what that means, where it says angels or heavenly beings, it literally means sons of God. Now, for today, if we're speaking about this in a devotional purpose, it's probably, we're like, well, I think the Bible applies to women too, so we might say sons and daughters of God, right? But being from the period of time it's from, it says sons of God. And that's kind of a technical term in the Bible. And there's a reason why later on people start translating it as angels and things like that. Let me mention one other thing. That word Lord in all caps. Does anybody know what name that's actually translating? Because God's name's not actually Lord in all caps.
Yahweh.
Yeah, actually just that. And so anytime you see that, it's really saying Yahweh. It's a personal name that's revealed to Exodus revealed to Exodus. How about Moses in Exodus chapter 3? So they all present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan also came among them. And all of a sudden everybody's like, oh boy, Satan shows up on the scene. Yeah, please.
Back to Yahweh, why is it written without the vowels? Is that something important?
Because actually all Hebrew was written without vowels at first. You didn't see vowel marks to help you read it clear up until the 7th, 8th, 9th century CE, AD. And so originally it didn't have vowel marks to help you read it. And you'll notice that today in modern Hebrew, they have dispersed with the vowel marks as well. But if you look at like the Torah over at Temple Bethel, did you notice it had vowel marks?
No.
It didn't? Was it just okay? A lot of them have them because we have there's this tradition amongst many Jews where they have a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, right? You get up and you read part of the Torah. It's interesting that without those vowel marks, a lot of times it's hard to know how to pronounce those. Now, it's interesting. Vowels in their written form aren't as necessary as you might think. I didn't bring it with me, and maybe I should have. I'll hand my students a paragraph in English, only I've removed all the vowels, but guess what, everybody can read it just fine. Because our minds are so used to what probably comes